Okay, everyone. This is our first part of trigonometric graphing, and in one of the exercises that we had before, what we did is that we just went ahead and we took the values that we got from our sine chart, and we put them on a graph, and we discovered that the sine wave looks a little something like this. And so at the bottom are going to go ahead and be some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces as far as different vocabulary words, and trying to get us to communicate what's going on with this sine graph here. So let's start at the first unfamiliar stuff is going to be the amplitude. And the amplitude basically means is that if you can kind of see here with the distance that is going to be from the peaks and valleys to right back to the center of the graph is going to be the amplitude. And it's always going to be positive. I'm going to show you how to calculate it a little bit later. So the amplitude in the standard position here, or its parent form, is just going to be 1. Okay. I don't know why I gave it such a large line to write 1 on, but anyhow. The next vocabulary word is going to be the period. And so that basically means is that is going to be the distance horizontally where the graph starts to repeat itself. So if we look at just this section of the graph, kind of right here, okay, we notice that is unique in such a way where it goes up, then down, then up again, okay? And when I say that, up, then down, then up. And then it starts to repeat itself right here, okay? And so once it starts repeating, we know that the period is over. And so the distance, the horizontal distance in which the sine graph takes to repeat itself in its parent form is going to be 2 pi, which kind of makes sense because we know that 2 pi is going to be one turn around a unit circle. So that's that's where that comes from. And we're going to be putting these pieces together better in the later videos. We're just kind of warming up to the this concept here. The next one that we're looking at is a phase shift, and the phase shift is a fancy name for a horizontal shift. And so that means is that obviously there's not going to be any horizontal shift from left to right because it's a parent function. We haven't done anything to it. So there's going to be none, and there's no phase shift right now. The vertical shift is not going to exist right now either, and that one's just called the vertical shift. I don't know why one's called a phase and one's a vertical, but that's what it is. And there's going to be none, and we're going to move the sine wave up and down in videos later. Now, this next one's going to be a little bit tricky, and you might go, huh, at first, if you don't remember the concept from last year. But the x-intercepts, you notice that we have x-intercepts all over the place. So we have an x-intercept here, and here, and here, and we're going to have an infinite amount of x-intercepts. So if we're going to name them all, that would take forever. Therefore, we're going to be writing an equation that is going to be help us locate any x-intercept that we need in the sine wave. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to take a look at this way to write it. So the x-intercepts are going to be this guy. So it's going to be pi n, where n is an integer, comma, 0. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. It'll make sense, trust me, when we get there. The y-intercept is just going to be right where you think it is. Okay, 0, 0. The domain, unless otherwise stated, that is that if it's like a word problem or anything like that, the domain in this parent form is just going to be negative infinity to a positive infinity. And the range is going to be from a negative 1. Okay, so it looks like if you notice that this is the lowest point and this is going to be the highest point up here, and it includes those points, so that's going to be a -1 to a +1. Okay, so that basically is the greatest hits of this thing just graphed out and just sitting there. So in these next videos, or in these next parts, we're going to take a look at how these different things change as we start doing stuff to the parent form. So see you in the next video.